on the camera. And so going through my notes, yeah, you need to know how to go from VFO to memory mode. VFO, variable frequency oscillator, and Raymond is saying 7.3s, hello. So you need to go from VFO to memory mode, and by default you have got presets on the radio. You've got the transmit button there, and below it you've got PF1, PF2 and PF3 on the top. That's good, Robin. That's what I want to hear. You know, I'm trying to improve. I've got a lot to learn, but I'm trying to improve. And you've got P1 and P2. So on the 578, you've got tons of presets. Now, by default, to go from VFO to memory mode, you press this one here, P2. So I'm on a channel. You can tell I'm on a channel. Because it says channel 1 there, channel 1. But if I press P2, it goes into VFO mode. So by default, you need to know how to get from VFO to memory. And you can change the VFO and change the memory. To change the VFO, look, I'm in VFO mode, and using the clicker knob on the top you can change the frequency. That is the yeah, thanks Alex, I'm always trying to improve things. So that changes the VFO, and if I press P2, that will change the channel on the clicker knob. So that is changing the VFO and the channel. Now, all channel settings, anything to do with changing the frequency, changing the tone, the offset, anything to do with changing a channel is in settings, channel set. And I'd also like, I'm just reading my notes, I'd also like to thank all my friends, supporters of the channel that have done a super chat. I'm not going to read it, you know, I don't think I'm going to do a Patreon. I'll just occasionally thank people that have done a super chat in the past. I'm very grateful. That's what pays for all this equipment. That's what helps me. Does the radio come with... It doesn't come with a magnet. I'm not sure what you mean. But anyway, so all channel settings are in menu, settings, and in there, that's radio set. I press double click, channel set. Everything to do with programming a channel or a frequency is in channel set. So there'll be receive frequency. Mr. Andy Cowley, thank you very much. First super chat, highly appreciate that. It's very kind. Okay, right. A magnet helps you get more bubs and vagine. Okay. Like it. I do like it. Right, so anything to do with setting a frequency, the mode, the offset, stuff like that is done in channel set. And if you're in VFO mode, going to channel set will alter the parameters of the VFO. If you're in a memory, it will change the parameters of a channel. Right, so I'm just looking at my notes. All channel settings are in channel set. We've covered that, and I'm just going to show them all. I'm going to show them all. all the settings. So menu, can you remember where we go? Menu, settings. Hope you guys can read the screen okay. Use Filmora Go, yeah, that's a good one. So channel set, if you remember, you get different features if you're in analog or digital mode. Yeah, it's free, that's good. I use DaVinci Resolve on PC. Now, new channel. If you're in VFO mode and you've got all the settings in place, if you say new channel, it will transfer that VFO information to a memory channel. It asks you what zone you want to put it in, and it asks you for the channel number. Channel type, that will go from analog or digital. Transmit power, you can set individual channels with different power levels. Offset, these are all things that all of us radio hams know about, and these are in channel set because they apply to setting the channel or the VFO parameters. Bandwidth, you can do wide or narrow. If you're in digital, it's fixed, I believe. Transmit frequency, receive frequency. So if you're on a simplex frequency, they'll both be the same, and if you're on a repeater, they'll be different if it's a duplex repeater. So is this good information? I hope people are enjoying this. Talk around, that's not something that's widely used in ham radio. Name, you can give it a name. When you save it, it gives it a name. Transmit allow. GoPro's amazing. Yeah, it is. It is. I've got a YCam, which is very similar. YCam 4K. So transmit allow. If you've programmed in a frequency which is a stopwatch, or something you really do, something you're listening to, let's say it's police, you can't pick up police here, but if you set that to transmit allow off, you won't accidentally key up and show your local police your DMR number. Don't do that. So transmit allow and transmit prohibit. So yeah, you'd set transmit prohibit to on. Radio ID, that's where you put your ID. Color code, these are all codes. Time slot. Digital encryption, not allowed in the UK. Receive group list, you can add a list of talk groups. APRS, receive. SMS, you can prevent it SMSing. DMR mode, you can choose simplex or repeater. This is set up for a hotspot, so if I select that, you'll see that I've got it set in repeater mode. So that is all about setting up a channel or the VFO. If you're in VFO, it applies to the VFO that you're preparing to go to a memory channel. If you're in a memory channel, it will alter the parameters. JWS talk around is for private comms or off channel. I'm not actually sure because it's for a business use. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't use talk around. Never have done. Okay, so just looking at my notes. So we've talked about all the settings that apply to changing a channel. Next is VFO to memory. VFO to memory. We did cover on that a minute ago. If you're in VFO mode, by default press P2. If you're in VFO and you've set up a repeater, whether it's analog or digital, you go to settings and channel set, and if you click on new channel, you can transfer. You see, that should say VFO to memory. That should say VFO to memory. That will allow you to transfer your VFO parameters into a memory channel, and it will ask you for a zone and stuff like that, channel number. So if you're a beginner, how many people in the comments are beginners on this radio? You know, if you're a beginner, it will make it a lot easier if you turn off the sub band. You know, if you look, you know, I've just got one line. That it's not, look, it was touchscreen then. No, it wasn't. I've just got one line going. So if you're a beginner, you don't want. Yeah, I think so, JWS. If you're a beginner, go into settings, radio set, and turn off sub line, or you can do it in the CPS. So the next thing we're going to talk about is zones. Zones are, you know, if you're not used to DMR radio, zones can be confusing, but a zone is just a folder. It's a folder where you can put a collection of channels that you've already made. If you don't put them in a zone, you can't find them. So zone, yeah, you can fit up to, I think it's 250 or 256. You know, I've never had enough channels that I've needed to put in a zone. You could have 250 in the top line. If you really know what you're doing, you can have 250 in the top line and 250 in the bottom. So you can have two lines, but I find it too complicated. You don't know where the audio's, well, you do, it shows, but it just makes it too complicated. So that's zones, and there's two ways to alter the zone. You can use the, I'm in VFO mode. Alfred Archer, brand new to DMR. Okay, well Alfred, this is for you. You know, if this video is useful, give it a thumbs up, and let me know you're enjoying this, and I'll continue. So I'm in VFO mode. If I press P2, which is the default, I'm in a channel, and because I'm in a channel, yeah, 250, I thought it was 250, up and down, I'm in a zone called ham, and the reason I did that is because from my thumbnail of the group I've called it digital analog ham, obviously, and I made a channel called digital analog and I made a zone called ham. And if you press up and down, you can cycle through different folders, different zones which contain channels. So I live in this group in this zone called ham. Yeah, click on the thumbs up, it helps, thank you very much. Just gonna make John a moderator because he's a friend of the channel. So Reflecting Me is now a moderator. So that's about zones, and there's two ways to do it: up and down button, or menu and then zone, and then you can browse from a list. So two ways to change zone. Now presets are very useful. Presets, when I'm pressing P2 and I'm going from VFO to memory, you can alter what is in a preset. Remember, we've got PF1, PF2, PF3, the coloured button on the top, and you've got P1 and 2, and each one can be short and long press. So if you go to menu, settings, and radio set contains all the settings like clock, like squelch, stuff that is not necessarily to do with setting up a channel. So if you go in there, if you go to the top, all the preset buttons. Paul Howes, he's still dabbling. Thank you, Paul, for commenting. Paul is a fan of the channel. Thank you, Hobbit, I appreciate that. So if you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up, and always subscribe so you don't miss anything. So I'm on about presets, so if you scroll to the top and then up through the bottom, each of these keys has got a short and a long press. So on my P2 short press, I've got it set, press select, select applies to this button, back applies to this button. If I press this one, you will see I've got it set from VFO to MR. Thank you, Andreas. So understand your presets and get them set how you want them. And just to show you what presets I've got P2, obviously VFO to memory. I don't even know what long press is. Long press. Right. Record. You can record the conversation and it's showing up at the top there as a record. So I'm going to turn that off. Record off. P1, I've got that set as one click is record because I don't use record. I've actually got too many presets, I don't use them all. So P1 short press I've got as record, long press I've got as digital monitor. If you keep long pressing you get different combinations. Double slot, digital monitor off. If you're a beginner you don't need to be using digital monitor, it would just confuse you. Anyway, I just going and getting a bit of refreshment. I'll be back in less than 1 minute. Any questions, put them in the comments, and we're about halfway through talking about the settings. Any questions about the radio, 868-878-578, put them in the comments. A lot of this stuff will apply to all DMR radios. Just reading the comments. Robin Emerson, Ken Burnett. Thanks for doing this, John. Yeah, I'm Chris, by the way. This is Chris, 2E0UKH, and that's that's okay. Right, back in a minute. Ed is saying evening. Good evening there, mate. I like the beard. Thank you. Right, back in 1 minute. Okay, so just coming back, not sure if you can hear me from the other room, so I'm just looking at the comments. So Ed, M0TZX, is that Ed from my club? Is that Ed that I know from the club? I'm not very good with call signs, unless I speak to people regularly. He's saying like the beard, yeah, thank you for that. Mr. Reflecting Me, he knows his stuff, he's saying hit the like button. While he's gone, let's look through his stuff. Yeah, that's me. That's great, Ed. I don't know. I do apologise if you've ever commented before. By the way, Ed, he is a great radio ham. I'm a member of the Kettering and District Amateur Radio Club, and Ed is a teacher there, and I'm very proud of Ed. I'm sure I took you through your radio procedure, Ed. Is that right? I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did. I took you through your radio procedure. Andy Campbell. Andy Campbell, could you talk about setting up roaming? I can't. Yes. Ed is saying Chris taught me. The red A is power off. Automatic power off. It turns it off. So no, I'm afraid, Andy Campbell, I can't talk about roaming because I don't have enough DMR repeaters near me. So I can't talk about that. So Ed, who's an M0 now, he builds stuff. I think he's advanced more than me, in different areas. But I trained Ed up at the club, and I'm very proud of him and Adrian. 2E0ERO. Eddie Essex, Chris, what's the red? Yeah, I've addressed that one. So just going through the comments, and now we're going to get on to the more interesting stuff, changing talk groups, stuff like that. The etiquette, the proper procedure. So talk groups are linked to a channel. So I've got the radio here. It's in memory mode. Remember, P2. Go from VFO to memory, and this channel, which is a digital channel, says there, is linked to unlink. An unlink command is group call 4000. So this channel, this is a channel, we're not in VFO mode. This channel is linked to talk group 4000, group call. Now, you can change the channel on the top, and because each channel is linked to to a talk group, this would go USA nationwide 3100. You can change the channel, and each channel is linked to a different talk group in memory mode. Yes, automatic shutdown, that's right. I find that very useful. If I fall asleep, leave the radio on, set it for half an hour, no activity, and then it goes off, and then when I switch it, when I want to use the radio the next day, it's working, it's not dead. So now you can also change the talk group on the fly. If this radio only had one talk group programmed in, 4000, I could go to any talk group I want. Please don't follow me around the talk groups, we'll do that later. Or it will, I won't be able to do the demonstration as well. So we can take live calls later. Are you able to call in, Ed? I've never seen you on one of my live streams. That would be nice if you could call in. You've got the MD380. Okay, so you can change talk group on the fly by long pressing the 0 button. If you tap it quickly, it goes to channel. You type in the number. If you're in memory mode, you can type in the channel number. So I didn't press it long enough. So I'm waiting for that lady to go away. Now there must be something wrong with my button, because I've done umpteen videos on this. Long press the 0 definitely changes the talk group. I don't think I was holding it down for long enough. So if you're on a channel, if you're on a repeater keepers don't like you to do this because it ties up the whole slot. But if you long press the 0, I'm on a hotspot. If I typed in reflect in me John's DMR ID with the keypad and press transmit, it will be a private call to him. If I press the bottom right, the hash button, that's talk group ID. So if I want to go to a talk group I've never heard of before, let's just make one up, 222. Something wrong with my keyboard. Either that or I'm a bit too enthusiastic. If I press transmit, it's now changed to 222, so I can go to any talk group in the world even if you don't have it programmed in. Now there is an additional setting to this, which is in option on the CPS, on the computer software optional settings. Is Fred Romeo in the house? He's quite an expert on this. If you long press the 0, you can go to any talk group you want, and there is a setting on the CPS software, optional settings, digital function. If you've got an 868, there's less options, but the top one is private call. You know, how long you will stay connected when you're private calling. Type in the ID number. If that's set to 10 seconds, you'll have a 10-second window to go back to them. If you have it set to longer, I think the maximum on the 868 is 30 minutes. On the 878 you can have it set to infinite. So that's a very important setting. Private call and group call have got settings that refer to this manual dial. What we're doing is manual dialing in. There's settings that refer to this in the computer software. Yeah, get your brain out the frying pan, Jimbo. It's alright. So when you do it, this is doing a manual dial. When you do this, Mr. Jamie McCarroll, yo Chris, thank you for watching, my man. Jamie McCarroll, he's one of my friends. He's one of my drinking partners from years ago. It's wonderful to see you on it, Jamie. Yeah, so when you change talk group, say hello to Jamie. He's not a radio ham. Tell him what we like about it. He has come here and seen my Radio Shack. Tell him what we like about the hobby. You know, get him interested. He's a clever chap. Anyway, so that is about talk groups. Now, so we've talked about the yeah, come up soon. There's a beer waiting for you, mate. So that's all the stuff about using the radio, and there's just a few little notes I've got here. Now, the correct sort of etiquette, you know, I'm a trainer at my club teaching people radio procedure. Henrik is saying hello. OZ. Let's just show Jamie what countries we've got watching in the world. So everybody put your country in the comments. You know, America. Tell him where everyone is in the world. So we've got Lionel there in the UK. So Kettering, I'm in Kettering. Yeah, Denmark. Henrik is in Denmark. Who's the furthest away? We've got a few UK stations. JSS is in America. Bath. Yeah, Bath. Jamie is in Bath. Christopher Tanner, USA, reflecting me, is in Wales. Cider Place, yeah. Mike Baker, he's a friend of the channel. By the way, we've had over nearly 1.2 million views on the channel. Loads of subscribers. Aaron Anderson is in SF, California, maybe. Atlanta, America, Portsmouth. Anyway, right, I'm getting carried away here. Now, if you look at the radio, you can see I'm on talk group 222 because I connected to that, and that is a channel I don't have in because it's Italy. And there's Angelo. There's Angelo talking in Italy. Now, do you remember I said about the presets? If I press the PF1 button, I've got that set as a group call 4000. So I can get off this talk group. You can't quite see it. There's green light at the top. If the green light is on, there's communication going on. So I'm just waiting for Angelo in Italy to to stop talking. And I'm going to press PF1, which does a hotkey. Done videos on this in the future. In the past, I mean. We'll do some in the future. So I'm just waiting for Angelo in Italy to stop talking. So I'll quickly press the button and press transmit.
Not linked.
So are you getting this? This is a very handy feature. You press the PF1 and that brings up 4000 group call, and that will unlink. So the correct procedure, Mr.
Not
Robin
linked.
Edmondson, thank you very much, nice fiver there. You've just bought me a couple of pints of beer, thank you very much. How's it going? Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm having a great night. I'm really enjoying this. You know, you guys know I love the Anytone radios. And what do you think to the setup, Jamie? Jamie, you still there? The crazy setup we've got here. I'm using OBS, I'm using cameras and stuff. 5 cameras, 4 monitors, you know. This is all done on a budget. I've got 2 iPads, which are additional monitors. They're all different sizes, you know. I'm using cameras that I've got already. Very interesting, yeah. I mean, I can do loads of stuff here. Let me just show. I can show you my desktop. This is my other desktop. That is my other desktop. That's my monitor number 2. This is my actual desktop. You know, if I'm using I can type stuff in. I use WhatsApp. I certainly do. Did you see, Jamie? Did you see my music that I created myself? Don't worry, I won't play it all. Did you see my music I created myself using GarageBand? I'm just going to give you a quick blast of it. I won't bore everyone because they've already seen it 50 times, but this is my first ever attempt at making music myself, so watch this.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2.
Are you hearing the music, Jamie? Tell me when to say click stop.
Roger, 0G. Roger, 0G, and I feel fine.
Okay, so I won't bore everyone with that, but that is a track I've been working on using GarageBand, done on my phone. How cool is that? You know, the technology we've got in our own pocket. Unbelievable. I'm confused. Now you're famous DJ. Well, I'm not famous. I'm just someone that is enthusiastic, you know. I like to teach myself stuff, and I'm not sure if I got a hit in my hands, but there's a few of us that like it. Jimbo has just won the lottery. That's very good. Oh, thank you, Eddie Essex. You should enter that song into the Eurovision. Yeah, exactly. The keyboard is very handy. When I've got 4 monitors going, and I've moved my keyboard to make room for this device. Anyway, it's very interesting that Jamie is watching us. Right, let's move on. So, the correct... You know, I'm a trainer at my club. He's still there, Ed. I trained Ed up. He's still there, Ed. It's a million times better than anything the UK has put out there. Love it. Love that comment. So is Ed still there? You know, I was a trainer at my local club, and radio procedure. That's what I was a trainer on. Still am, but we haven't been there for ages. So the correct procedure on DMR is, first of all, to unlink. If you unlink, press transmit, group call 4000, it will unlink.
Not linked.
So you're not connected to anything. And then you're free to go, club is the KDARs. That's correct. Yes, Jimbo, you'll see me there. If you know, I'd like to get you up to KDARs. Have you been up there? Right. I'm going to be taking calls on... Are you still there, Jamie? Because this is what we do. We take calls all around the world. We take calls all around the world. So I'm going to connect to 2353 and I'll do it the easy way. Long press the 0. Next Sunday. That's brilliant. So I'm going to be taking calls all around the world on 2353 on DMR. So that's brilliant.
Spacemen and things. I can't just believe there's not all.
There's someone on 2353.
So we'll have to see. I missed your name before. What was your name over there?
So I'm going to unlink. You need to get this button programmed in on your radio. PF1 or PF2, any
Not
preset.
linked.
It does a group called 4000. If you search for my video, something like 3 ways to unlink on the Anytone. And